We will now run the LogoPress 3 tool animation and dynamic interference detection function. The tool animation can be ran at any point after the tool assembly is created. And we recommend that you do run it at multiple times during the die design process along with the dynamic interference detection function. To run the tool animation, while in the tool assembly, you just select the tool animation icon. LogoPress will automatically turn the display style to shaded, but you can always change it back to shaded with edges. There are 3 values that you have to enter: the press stroke, the stripper travel, and the strip lift height. When that is done, you can select play. The tool will animate, and when you want to stop, just select the stop icon. You can animate additional components, such as lifters. I'm going to show just the lower half of the tool and hide the strip so that we can access the lifter pins. Then I'm going to scroll down to and expand the other components to animate section and select one of the lifter pins. We can select the other lifter pins, but we also have this icon, select all instances of this component. And you can see I got all 6 of these. I'm going to select this lifter pin over here and again select this icon for the additional instances and got all 4 of these. At this point, when I select play to animate again, you can see now the lifters are animating. I'll show the rest of the tool again. And once the tool has animated through one cycle, you can hit stop, at least one cycle. And then I'm going to expand the dynamic interference detection section. And I am going to select interferences computation icon. LogoPress will look for interferences with the tool open and the strip progressing when the stripper contacts the strip at lift height and when the tool is closed. At this point, you can see there are interferences listed, and we can expand these and select individual interferences. To more easily see what is interfering, down below we can say we want the non-interfering components to be a wireframe, hidden, or transparent. I'm going to select hidden. You can see that the rails, the lip on the rails, the hook, is not high enough for when the strip is lifted. If I select the next interference, you can see it's the same problem on both sides. Next interference is the dimple is interfering with the form block. We can also expand each interference and select, you can see each component that is interfering. Here you can see the interference with the die block. I'll expand the last interference section, and we can also see that the dimple is interfering with this die block. This interference is because we are coining or setting the radius on the part, so that interference we can ignore. This interference is because the dimple punch is set to go a little bit deeper into the part, so we can ignore that also. And the last one is because the cutting punch does have mismatch notches on it. So that is interfering with the part, and we can ignore that. So we just need to correct the dimple interference into the cutting die block, also the interference into the form punch, and the interferences with the rails. So at this point, I can hit stop and click OK to exit tool animation. It is important to select OK because if you hit cancel, it will not save the settings that you had previously set, whereas when you select OK, it does save out all this extra animation. And it puts us back and shows the rest of the tool again. I will now correct some of those interferences. So I'll show just the lower half of the tool. And for the interference of these two dimples, I'm going to measure the diameter at the bottom of the dimple, 1/4 inch diameter. Show the rest of the lower again. And I'm going to use the standard component library machining axis function to do this. I'll select my reference face. I will change the hole type to a blind drill. The diameter, 5/16, and I'll make it 1/4 inch deep. No, we'll make it, I'll make it 300 deep, so we have extra clearance for die life. Select OK. It puts you into a sketch. And I'm going to place 2 points each on the center of the dimples. Exit the sketch. And now, if I hide the strip, you can see I have clearance for those 2 dimples. Next, I'll clear out for the dimple in this form block. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut a groove along the side of this. So I'm going to edit that form block. Put a sketch on this side of it. Use the LogoPress 3 normal tool without zooming out. Sketch in a rectangle. Place some dimensions. 550 and 300. And then I will use the SolidWorks extruded cut feature to cut that in an 1/8 inch. Double check by looking at the preview. And it's a little bit deeper than we need, so I'll reduce that. $60,000. Click OK. And we have our clearance in our form block. Exit out of editing that form block. That clearance is there. Next, I'm going to change the clearance on these rails. So I'm going to go back into tool structure. And from the list here, I'm going to select the lower part rail and tray assembly. Scroll down, and you can see right here the notch Z dimension. I'm going to make that a 1/4 inch. And you can see both rails have updated. Exit tool structure, and now I've updated or modified to clear out for our interferences. But, so I'm going to save. I'm going to run tool animation again just to make sure that we did clear out enough for all of these interferences. So I'm going to show the rest of the tool again, and then select tool animation. Again, I'll change my display style back to shade with edges. You can see all of our movement values are now still there, and our components to animate are still there. I'll select play, let it run through at least one cycle of the press. Let it stop, scroll down, go to dynamic interference detection, and select interferences computation. I'll check for interferences. And it's still showing interferences, so I'll expand those. I'll select this one. Again, I can make a non-interfering components hidden. And see, it's still showing an interference here. And that is because we didn't take into account for the lift. You can see interference right there. Or we have an 1/8 inch lift, so we have to make this groove here an 1/8 inch taller. I'll check the other interference. Again, that's for the setting of the radius, so we can ignore that. That's for the dimple punch. Again, we're just entering a little bit deeper than on that one. And this is for the mismatched notch on the cutting punch. So these three we can ignore. I'll hit stop again. And OK. Show just the lower, and we need to correct that clearance. So I'm just going to double click on the inside face of that groove. It will then show dimensions. I just need to make this 300. I just double click on the 0.300 dimension, and I'm just going to add an 1/8 inch to it. I'll check the little regen icon, and you can see it just got wider, taller. Click OK, and I'll run animation one more time. Show the rest of the tool animation. Select Play. Let it run through one cycle because it's doing all the computations. Stop. Dynamic interference detection. Interferences computation icon. Set my non-interfering components to be hidden. Select, I have 3 remaining interferences. Again, it's the coining or setting of the radius, that dimple punch, and for the mismatch notch. So we can ignore those 3. We have no other interferences. We've fixed those remaining interferences. So we can just click OK. And the only remaining thing is to update the drawings, or go in and check the drawings for these 2 details, or actually 4 details that we had changed. First, I'm going to click on the form block and open the drawing. It's saying, hey, something changed in the in this part. Do you want to update the table? I'll select yes. That updated. And the only thing that we have to do is add some dimensions here for that groove. So I'll right click on the ordinate dimension and select add to ordinate. Select those 2. And I'm just going to change the units on those. And then also dimension the depth of that. That detailed drawing is now updated. We'll save it. Do the same thing for this die block. Open that. It tells me, hey, there's something changed in here. Do you want to update the whole table? Yes. You can see the 2 holes there. Now they have hole tags on them now, and they are added to the table. You can see them right here, K1 and K2. Save that. The last 2 are these 2 rails. I'll select that one. Select open drawing. Do I want to update? Yes. Make sure it's up to date. And you can see that the height of the hook on the rail has already been updated. So really, we don't need to do anything here. Save that. And same here, open the drawing for that other rail. And you can see that this dimension right here is already updated also. And save. Close. We have now checked for interferences and corrected the interference, the clearance. We cleared out for the interferences that had been listed by LogoPress, and we are now done.